Checklists are a simple and powerful way to make complicated processes safer and more predictable. Today I'm going to show you some of the tools I use and how I'm improving CueCam Presenter with the use of a new quality control checklist. Welcome to Squares TV App Lab number 79, where we talk about Video Pencil, Shoot and CueCam Presenter. This is a lab on after hours going out live on YouTube. This is also where we find out if the changes I'm in the middle of making will crash CueCam midstream. I should probably take that out of the intro, but I don't feel like we're out the woods just yet. We've got a couple of people on Zoom and I don't know who's on YouTube. Anyway, I'm Michael Forrest. I make apps and other weird stuff like this. This is my thismf.art website. But yeah, first this week, updates. And updates are going to be, well, you know how I said I was going to focus on video production and like making TikToks and making a course and stuff instead of programming? Well, I've just been in a programming hole for several days now, but some of that is I'm just really trying to get this app like perfect, and also the other thing I'm just really excited about the checklist thing that I'm going to talk about. That said, I did a couple more non-scripted TikToks over the weekend, and I thought I'd just share my results for TikTok this week. Oops, let's try that again. I need to make sure the window is on the right screen and come back out again. I had my arc window on the wrong screen. It keeps disappearing. It keeps going into little arcs. I need to do that. And then we say, so this is, so last week, I'm giving you advice on how to make TikToks and get thousands of views, but we've got, nearly 3,500 views over the last few days. I think that's not even, since I did that video. What is that? Yeah, we've had 3,500 views, which is a 999% improvement. So you can't say fairer than that, can you? And we got a few new followers. So, you got to get on the horse. And I did do a couple of other little kind of response videos, sort of stitched with a couple of other people over the weekend. And look, I sort of managed to film myself in the golden hour on Sunday morning when I went out for my run. But yeah, so it's not too bad, and I'm working on the next one. I think it seems to be a good formula. And something else I wanted to mention, I don't want you to think I've forgotten about Video Pencil and Shoot, because I have got some ideas for those apps that I'm really, really itching to start on, feeding out of all the stuff I've done on CueCam. Some stuff I really want to, some really fun ideas and useful things that I want to add into those apps. But I just need to get CueCam 100% crisp, which I've been saying for, I think, at least a year now. But I'm getting closer. Do you know, I haven't written this up, but I think I'm a victim of ChatGPT with this project. So I started it just around the time ChatGPT came in, like 18 months ago or something, maybe not quite that long. And I think the thing with programming is often the first bit, the first sort of 80%, you can get there quite quickly, or I can certainly do the first sort of 50% I can usually do in like a day, and then and then maybe it's like another day, but then it's like the same amount of time again to just polish it and get it like working properly. And I think the trouble with ChatGPT is it sort of gives you that so easily, and then you sort of got another one of those and another one of those, and before I know it, I've got like 15 of those, and these all need like that much more work before they actually work properly. So it's sort of, I think it sort of makes it easy to get that first exciting part of an implementation done, but then it just kind of, you're saddled with this thing that isn't quite particularly working well. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, let's talk about checklists, something I've been thinking about. So checklists are a simple tool used by surgeons, pilots, and TV producers. And I think the key is that it's not like a checklist is a checklist, here's what I've got to do, but it's when they're not a one-off, but something that you repeat every single time. So it's like recurring checklists, I think, is the real trick here. So I'm sort of like pretty conscious of how they're used since our child was delivered via C-section back in February, and so I experienced that NHS pre-surgery checklist firsthand, and they they're like, so please can you just tell me your name, date of birth, and like they come up with these really sort of things that you're like, well, come on, you should know that by now. But like they have this process involving like, let's just make sure before we pick up the scalpel that we're just nothing completely stupid is happening. And then there's some more sort of intense, involved stuff. But just having that checklist every time, and I did find a copy. This isn't the one from the hospital we were in, but yeah, it's like, what have you got to do? Like check that they're the right person. Check that it's the procedure that they think they're getting. Check that double check the check all the different things that you might want to check. So it's, and I asked in office hours today as well, and I got some notes from Jesse Kester. I said, is there anything you can share from a TV production? And he said no, because they're all they're all very sensitive. So you've always got specific client talent, but they sort of do enumerate like everything that each person is supposed to be doing, where they have to go, what they have to do, and it's they do for these TV things that they sort of schedule it in 5-minute chunks, like so 6 a.m., 6:05, 6:10, so you kind of know where everyone's got to be. And I'm just sort of paraphrasing. I could have just clipped out the video, but I thought I'd paraphrase. So the pre-flights say who's supposed to be where and when, and the talent where and when, the equipment where that's got to be and when, the live stream when that's going to go public, and if someone is in the wrong place, then you've got this master document that you can look to. And you can get very nuanced with where people can be, and including like when people can go and get something to eat. They don't schedule bathroom breaks, thankfully, but yeah, you might have like up to 4 hours scheduled with checklists. And then Mickey said each production has their own checklist. So each producer, like, so you'll have the person in charge might have one checklist, but then each crew member might have their own checklist as well. So it doesn't have to just be a master thing. Oh, and actually we were just talking on After Hours about sometimes you might want a system where everyone's got their separate checklists, but then the person in charge might want to see who's checked what off their different checklists. So I'm sure there's like a lot of different tools that you might want to use for that kind of thing. And then Bill Davis recommended the Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande. So I may have to have a look at that at some point, because I am quite excited about it. I should have probably read it, but I only heard about it an hour ago. I think I've heard about it secondhand, but I sort of knew there was something, and so now I have that book, so I can have a look at that, add that to my reading list. But the things I'm going to cover today are, first thing is daily habits. What can you do? Don't break the chain. Second is I'm going to talk about Coda. So this is my tool of sort of I'll talk about it a little bit. My tool of choice for kind of throwing stuff up if I don't want to jump into a programming environment. And then I'm going to talk about CueCam's new QA checklist, quality assurance checklist, and I'm actually just going to go through it. And you will probably learn some features of CueCam that you did not know about in the process, and you also sort of get an idea of all the stuff that can go wrong if I don't check this stuff. So the first thing, daily habits. So if you want to get good at anything, you need to do that thing over and over again. So I'm a big believer in daily habits, doing a little bit every day. It's incredibly effective, and if you can keep track of your streak, this is a really good motivator. So if you want to not break the chain, you want to sort of check off every day of the calendar, and then you once you're up to sort of 60, you're kind of like really reluctant to miss a day. So it's a really good motivator to make sure that you keep doing it. And I actually do have I actually have an app in the App Store that I did in 2012. Which is exactly that. So it gives you a little, and we're going to be able to zoom in. Yeah, sort of like, this is a bit of a low resolution thing, but you just have your checklist for the day. You can check the things off, and you sort of, you get the chain. Sort of over here, you can see your chain, but really you just don't want that, you never want that number to be interrupted, really. That's the sort of motivating mechanic there. So that's had like nearly 200,000 downloads over its lifetime. So, like lots of people use it. It's a free download, and it's got some a very pointless little in-app purchase. But if you want to try the don't break the chain thing, I use this absolutely every day, and like I really like having the widget. So I just have my the things that I've got, it sort of surfaces on your iPhone screen, so you don't have to like go into the app every time to see. So, and then once you've checked everything off, I'll give you a nice little visualization of your progress. I'm not doing very well with mine at the moment. You can see I've been working too hard. I have not been smelling the roses, although I did check that off today. So I do actually use a more sophisticated version of that to plan and track my work every day, which has recurring tasks that I have to check off, but I sort of time them all as well. So things like clearing my inbox, clearing my direct messages, and then like every couple of days make sure I contact a friend, make sure that I'm sort of staying on top of everything. I think it's really good to have that recurring checklist. So but I think like everyone has different requirements of these checklists, and that's why I think Coda is really handy. I actually used it to prototype the app that I now use for all of my work initially, and so it's like a cross between Google Docs, Sheets, and Microsoft Access. If you from the early 2000s, I actually like started my professional programming career. Like when in the early 2000s, I started off. I had my computer in the council, and I was learning how to make websites because I basically automated my job in Microsoft Access, and so I just had the time to kind of like learn how to do HTML and all that kind of thing. But yeah, Microsoft Access was then the way that I sort of got my first proper programming job, which was like a quadruple pay rise all of a sudden after a local government salary. And also like just the guy I interviewed with there really loved Microsoft Access, and I mean it's a weird thing, but I think like Coda kind of like scratches that itch, I think, of being a sort of relational database system, but with a user interface, so you don't have to like write code or anything. You can just sort of like put a document together. So this is what I use when I don't want to just actually fire up my app making software. So I'll show you the landing page. Let's see if this is going to work. Just to sort of give you an idea of what this is. So this should jump through. You see, do you know? You see how that just opened up the CueCam link in the same window? I lost a day to that last week. It was really demoralizing. And I think the problem is Arc, which is this browser, the browser that I really like, used to only ever open the same window when you opened a link, and it was actually perfect for CueCam, but then they changed it to start spawning other links, and so it changed. But this is what Coda looks like. So you get out the box, you get all these different templates, so you can sort of, what's this, $100, everyone gets $100 to allocate to their favorite ideas. I don't know what that is. Accounting, tables, birthday calendar, color palette table, like content library. You can do all sorts of stuff with it, but I thought I'd just show you kind of how you can make yourself a quick checklist that you can do again and again. So Coda is here. So if we just go blank doc, so all we need to do, let's call this our pre-flight checklist, right? We can add an icon, maybe. There we go. And then I'm going to type / or you can click the plus button here and just go make a new table. I'm just going to type table, and I'm going to make a table, and this is going to be my checklist, I guess. And I'm going to do this the easy way, which is, so let's start off by, I guess, so each of these rows is going to be a run through of your checklist. So think about it like that. So each new row I add is another go live, is another performance or a new day. So maybe we want this to actually be a date column. So we're always going to we're going to do it on a specific date, and then the value for new rows, we'll just do date created, and I'll apply that to this blank row. So now we have today's, this is date, and then maybe we'll have like some name, like that's a description or something. Description, if you just want to be able to identify it, and we've got there's this nice little notes thing that you can do, so you can have some formatted text, you can sort of put pictures and things. So if you wanted some notes that were specific to that one, you could make we could drag in like a picture and have that in there and kind of resize that, and that will just be in that table cell in that format. And then to build up the checklist, we would just add columns, checkbox columns, and we'd have and then just think about what you need to do. Okay, lights set up. add another checkbox. Let's say camera switched on. Add another column, checklist. Let's say I don't know, original sound for musicians enabled, right? So you've got a few things like this. What do I have to do every time? Teleprompter checkbox, teleprompter in place. Yeah, so this is going to be the stuff that you have to do, and obviously you can just like check that there. But what we can do in Coda is actually go options and change this table display to, let's make it, well, you can do it detail, which gives you sort of a column for each one. But I think actually this makes more sense to have it as a form. So what we can do here is have our form, and if we hit edit layout up here, we can even add some, you know, what will this performance be about? Like we can actually add some prompts into this form. So like setup, if I've like set this up, and actually like yeah, the notes field, maybe I don't want to show, I don't know, I think maybe I'll just hide this one for now because I think it's distracting. But like we can have this and say 2 lights need to be pointing the right way with the right brightness, and then done. And so now you get this form which has some notes and some things, and then the date is going to be today. And so now I can just sort of pull this up, and it's obviously there's like an iPhone app, as you know, there's different apps for it, although they're kind of like, it's a web app sort of thing, so it's not the best experience. But yeah, this is how simple. So you could sort of, before you go live, just make sure you check all these off, and then you can do cool stuff like and then, you know, hit submit, good, done. And we could do some stuff like let's say we wanted to report on how much we've finished. So if I might just turn this back into a table because it's a bit easier to if I go back to table, I can add in a, let's say I think it's a compose field, and I want to say yeah, see, this is where, well, you know, so this is the simplest way to do it, but it's actually not the easiest way to report on. So what I'm going to do is, so to report on that, you'd actually have to sort of go camera switched on. Well, you go equals camera switched on and original sound for musicians, and, well, I think it's more and teleprompter, yeah. So you could go like if all of those things are complete. It can be a bit weird to edit this thing. I'm fighting with it a bit right now. Then show like a checkbox, right? So we could have that there. Oh, did I do that wrong? What did I do wrong there? Do I need to have, it couldn't be calculated because of missing values, otherwise nothing. Result, so like I can now like have a field which is this result one, and if I had here like equals checklist dot last dot result, and I could see done, and then if I check all these off, then I see, okay, that's done, cool. So you see, you can sort of build up a document and sort of do it like that. But let's go back to the format, but the nice thing with the form is you get the sort of descriptions of the things. But so well, I'm going to show you my stuff, but I just wanted to mention, like, I do have a little, I don't want you to think I'm like, I do use this. I've been using this for like 5 years and I really like it. But if you do try it and you like it, especially after what I show you next, then I do have a sort of referral link, which would be nice if you ever did decide to start using it. But yeah, what I'm going to do is show you the let's go back to Arc, and I'm going to go back to all docs. I'm going to take you through, well, I'm going to show you how I've done the release checklist. So one way to do this is to have like columns for everything. But what I've got in mine is, so I've got a master checklist, which is all the things that have to be done. And then on my main document, I have like a checks table, and I have a list of builds. So I have a list of builds, and then each build will have associated with it a row for each of those items in the master checklist. So what that means is, so I know the next build is 113. I know the current one, so I've got a little formula. Sort the releases by date, by build number in reverse order. Give me the first one. So this is named current release. So now when I back up the top, I can say, okay, the current release is build 112. I have done 57. Well, 57 out of 68 have passed. 10 have failed, but I have checked all of them. So this is what I'm living in now. So I've got all my different columns, so if we go back to the master checklist, we've got, okay, there's the context. So is it the dashboard? Is it like something to do with editing? Is it something to do with shoot or the teleprompter or video pencil? So all the different aspects of the apps, I've got a column for that, and that's different colors. Then I've got the steps to do something, and then I've got the expected result, and then I've got like a little notes field in case I need it. And then when I click add build, it copies all of those into the table against that build, and now I've got sort of a big checklist. And then in that checklist I have, you see the stuff that comes from the master checklist, and then I've got my notes, I've got the result. So instead of just check or not checked, I've got like pass, fail, pending or deferred. So it's not quite as simple as a check or a not checked, which gives you a bit more flexibility to sort of say, okay, I've done them. So this says, have I got any that haven't been done yet? And then this says, okay, how many have failed, blah, blah, blah. And then I've just given myself so you can add a little button. So I did a button. So it's a bit, you can do the drop down, but it's 2 clicks. But I just wanted to be able to get through it faster. So I've got a little pass button and a fail button that I can just click in 1 click. So you can just still do these little things. And then if I kind of like realize I want to modify this a little bit, change this, then I can sort of sync this back to the master checklist as well. So as you know, this is as soon as you start using it, you realize that there's detail to your requirements, and so this is where Coda really comes into its own. So each of these is sort of linked back to the original master checklist item, but it means I can just go through a big list like this. So let's kind of, why don't we, just for fun, is it fun? Let's just kind of go through the checklist. So I think what I'll do is actually, instead of sharing just Arc, I will share my whole screen, and I will make that my default share so that I don't keep having to do that. So let's have a look. So stuff like in CueCam you get this status menu, but I noticed that if someone was in light mode, it was in the wrong color. So now I go into sort of system settings, I go to appearance, I switch it to light mode, and I check that this thing is still in dark mode. And then I just put it back because who needs light mode? And then I can check that off. I'm sort of checking that the binary size isn't getting above 60 megabytes because, you know, that's in my promotional materials now. The dashboard. Right, so if I pull up the dashboard, are we going to get feedback if I put this here? So, okay, so instead of, if I pull it, I'll put that over here for now, because I also want to be able to switch back to the thing. The dashboard, if I clear the default share, and then if I click, is it going to, yeah, this is going to be really hard to demo. So we're going to have to jump into demo mode. So if in the dashboard, I can clear default share, and then if I press share, then it should like prompt me to choose a screen to share. Which doesn't work when I'm in demo mode, so I'm not going to be able to show you that. But if I come out of demo mode again, and go back to sharing my main screen, yeah, some of these are going to be harder to show, but I did want to sort of show you some little things that you might not know. So when you in CueCam, it has the idea of a default display, so that is always going to share. So I have my button on my Stream Deck set to just like share the default desktop, so that I can just immediately kind of share whatever that default desktop is going to be by pressing one button, which I just need to lock that in. So to do that, if I I'm not going to show, I'm just going to say set it. So now I can like toggle it on and off with one click, and that's all fine. We've got another thing that's hard to show. Maybe it's easier to show with a second camera. Because it's really the joys of trying to demonstrate CueCam. The other thing is, so if we share an app, I want to see that I'm actually going to take a picture. You see, like on my screen, if I share that, copy. So what I'm doing is I just took a picture on my phone. I'm going next, I'm going copy photo, and then I'm right clicking in CueCam, paste. Oh, it didn't work. I don't think it copied. Sometimes you just got to airdrop it, which is what's going to happen today. And that's not me. That's sometimes the Apple stuff is different. But yeah, if I just share, well, why don't I just share the picture directly? So what I wanted to show you was that if you have a look here, so this is my screen, but look what's going on here. I know exactly where I know that I know. Look, I can see that I know exactly where I am in relation to what I'm sharing, because like I'm superimposed on top of it. You can see like Live with CueCam Presenter is also showing up there as well. So that's another thing to check. So when you share your screen with CueCam, let's just tidy up my desktop. When you share your screen with CueCam Presenter, it's actually gonna like superimpose you over the top of what you're sharing, so that you are never accidentally blocking what you're sharing. So that's another thing that's in that checklist. And then share window, like I've got check that you can share a window, check that it shows the picture-in-picture thing that I just showed you, and check that it works like with or without a green screen. So we can just like maybe toggle green screen mode. Okay, I'm now in a circle, that still works. Or if I toggle it back to having a green screen, like I can sort of be back in this form. Hi Jeff. Hey, we've got a couple of people on the Zoom today. Share second camera. So if I share a second camera, that's going to work with that it's going to. Maybe we'll go into demo mode for this one. So if I come into demo mode on this screen, let's try that one more time. Let's stop sharing first and then go into demo mode. Okay, there we are. We're in demo mode. So the next thing there was, if I share a second camera, so say like my FaceTime camera, that I'm picture-in-picture down here, and this is here. Another one, the next thing I have is like, if I turn off my main camera and then like share something, unshare it, that I should never, like my camera shouldn't get accidentally revealed. So that's like something that you could imagine like someone would be quite upset about if they didn't want to be on camera and then suddenly something turned their camera on. But I would like to be back on camera. I am hammering it a little bit today. Kind of going back through it. Share an app or window with audio playing. Make sure that the audio is muted by default. So that's just because usually you're going to be hearing that anyway, so you don't want to hear it a second time lagged. Stuff like if we put some text in a box. So if I come back to it, so this was actually like, this was pretty broken. You see I've got these little tooltips that are coming in for the next version as well. But like I have it set to always show all of them, so it's a bit intense for me, but it's just I'm just trying to make sure that I don't miss anything. Here is what was the thing? It was enter text in the box, so I can just go hello and add some text. This is actually broken in the current live build because I wasn't keeping on top of it. So just that's a really simple check. And then actually with that, I've got like, okay, copy a picture. So if I copy a picture, I should be able to right click. I should be able to paste that image. That image should be there. And then if I clear the text, the image should stay. If I clear the image, the text should stay. If I clear the hello, then I should come back. And that's actually kind of broken in the current live one. But the fact that I've got some really simple instructions for that in my little checklist means you're safe from that sort of nonsense. Another one was like, okay, I use a wireless little earpiece thing just to monitor the sound. The main reason I like a wireless thing is so that I can get up and walk around and, you know, before I go live, which is always really annoying, especially if you're trying to sort of be on Zoom at the same time and not miss if anyone says anything. So I think a wireless thing is good. I'm not trying to get like high quality sound here. I've got my big headphones for that. But also this is really tiny, so you can't really see it. So this is kind of how I like to do it. But something I was having was something I need just... It disconnects, but then when it reconnected, it wasn't automatically like re-enabled. I'd have to re-enable it every time. So now I've got a thing which is preferred headphones should be unmuted when reconnected. So that's in there. Then we've got like copy and paste an image. I just showed you that. You should be able to right click. You should be able to remove it. It should appear correctly. You can make sure that you can like change the default share to an app. Just do that. Right click and remove the default share. Make sure that you can do that. Zooming and panning the desktop shares. So if we come out of here, come into demo mode. If I share my desktop, that's not supposed to include CueCam. But if I come and if I share the other desktop, I don't think it's going to work actually. I'll do it as an app. I'll do share app. No, it doesn't work when it's in demo mode, unfortunately. But like I should be able to. Let's just share, and I should be able to like zoom in, zoom out. You can actually see. Look. Oh no, you can't see because it's filtered out. But you can see there's the little kind of placeholder window showing you which bit of the screen is being shared. Yeah, so that's another thing I check now. We've got, you know, just stuff like make sure when you resize the dashboard window it doesn't get all corrupted. And then we sort of get into editing stuff. So if I make a new document. So loads of stuff with this that was a bit suboptimal. So let's have a look. So adding a card. Okay, add a card and I press undo and the new card goes. That, if you have the production version of CueCam, that does not currently work. Add a new card using Command Enter. Come on, lost my window. Add a new, so Command Enter, okay, undo, okay, that works. Add a new card using Add Layout. Okay, we've added that. We undo. Okay, that goes away again. Add a new card with the little line. Undo. That's actually broken, so that's why this one is currently. I think another one is in fail. Start a presentation. Draw something. Go forwards and back. So if I have slide 1, slide 2. Let's make these both desktop shares so that we don't lose our place. Is that going to go onto both? God, I don't even know. I've never tried that before. Let's try that again. Share screen. Let's share this screen, and I'll just duplicate the card actually. So this can be slide 2. Let's make sure we don't lose our place. Like now, something. Oh, I'm not showing my desktop anymore. Something that I'm very excited about now is if you click on a card, you can just press the delete key. It finally works. So yeah, if I was to start a presentation with these cards, I'm on slide 1. I say, hey, look at card 1. I go to the next card, and I go now. Look at slide 2. I go back to the previous card. Ah, my drawing for slide 1 is back. I go back to the next one. Ah, my drawing for card 2 is back. So that was a sort of contrived example. And then when I press stop, that's cleared. And when I start again, it's not going to still be there. And I can draw it again. Press stop, that's going to clear it. And on the iPad, you can always undo if it sort of gets rid of a picture that you didn't want to get rid of. So that's something you may not have been aware CueCam does, and definitely beyond the scope of other ways of using Video Pencil. This means that you can build up your script, and you can know that your drawings are going to stick around. Something I'm really happy about is I've got checked that if the teleprompter is in my teleprompter, when I quit CueCam and come back to it, it should still be full screened in my teleprompter. That took me like 3 hours to get working, but now that's good. That's working. Sharing. If I had another one, which is if you share shoot on your phone and then you exit shoot on the phone and bring it back, it needs to reconnect. That wasn't working. That's working now. If you go add layout and then change your mind, it doesn't leave like an empty card there anymore, so that's a new thing. And then I've got add the different layouts. So if I add just you and teleprompter, it's got that and the right text. So you see that had a place that was automatically selected. Not a trivial thing to do, but because I started from this checklist, I'm like, well, that's how I want it to work. So I'm going to spend an hour figuring out how to make it do that. So that's that. And then, so go through each, add presentation with the title, make sure that's there, make sure I can see that in the editor, add all the, just add each different type of layout. Oh, sorry. I'm going to turn off this mode. So it's like, okay, let's see that we can add a picture with bullets. Let's see that we can add a photo. Let's see that we can add, and I finally updated the video file that's in there to like this little like CueCam promo thing that I did. And you'll see also, like, if you use the current production version, whenever you use these things, you're going to get a ton of random like extra spaces around everything, which now I have taken the time to make sure that comes in nice and tight. And also you can press escape and you can go up and down now, and you can like multi-select, and that all works properly, nearly. Title and bullets, so add all the different ones. Video background, make sure that all works. Add second camera, make sure that works. So if I go like add layout second camera, it at least says choose second camera there, and I can sort of make sure that I select the second camera that I want. And then we've got some stuff about vertical video, which I will not risk right now. Create 2 screen share cards, so something you can do in CueCam. So you see we made these two we made these cards. What we could actually do is like zoom in to one position. So let's just sort of zoom into card 1 here to slide 1. I can actually go card, you can't see it, store current zoom. I can go to the next card, and so you see down here there's store current zoom. So if I zoom in on this one, I could sort of maybe sort of pan that over to this area, store current zoom, and now when I present the first one, it pans over to there, and I present the second one, it's going to pan over to this other thing. So that's now something I'm going to test every time. So if you wanted to do like a little demonstration where you kind of are jumping around different parts of the user interface, and you can sort of do that in combination with Spotlight and Video Pencil, but you can just sort of cue them up on your cards and sort of make it zoom and pan to the right place each time. So that's now enshrined in the checklist. Focus, it's like little editing things, like if this one's selected but I right click on that one and say duplicate, that it doesn't duplicate the selected one, it duplicates the one that I right clicked on. But if I do, if I've got 2 selected, I go duplicate, it's going to say duplicate 2 cards and duplicate the 2 cards. So it's little things like that. Toggling light and dark text, that's a bit boring. But yeah, all of these things are now checks that I'm doing before I ship CueCam. Let's see if there's anything else fun in here. So add each kind of text using the little plus button. So, I've got one of my steps is, add. See, we've got some little see, we've got some little tool tips here. So I'm going to, we can sort of add. Let's go here. Got that little tooltip there, so I'll get rid of that. So add each thing, teleprompter text, that's selected. Add a title, that's selected. Add a bullet, hello. Add a footnote, hello. You can see this is all appearing up here. Add a paragraph, hello. Add a table, and that's yeah, sort of comes down there. We go fun thing. So it's that easy to sort of add tables. So I just make sure that I run through each of those text things and that they all make sense. Stuff like if I select multiple images, that when I drag them in, they're in the order that I drag them in. Check that you can't do any weird stuff. Check that Side 3D works on the Stream Deck. Check the onboarding steps are there. Check for memory leaks. Pasting images, make sure that all works. Check demo mode works. That's the text image. Set shoot as the main camera. Quit CueCam. Come back into CueCam. Make sure shoot's still the main camera. Dragging cards, dragging in videos, and this is actually broken at the moment. So I want when you drag a video in that it's paused when you first land it, so you get a chance to adjust the volume before you press play. So that was, which it was behaving differently before, but then I sat down with a checklist and thought about how I wanted it to behave, and I realized that actually this would make more sense. Then like run through the presentation, make sure that's all good, that it's not no surprises, that the bullets appear correctly, that the transitions are glitch free, that teleprompter updates appropriately. Some sort of like ChatGPT stuff, make sure that the cards appear in the correct order. That's currently a fail because ChatGPT is a mystery sometimes. Video splitting. You see, last week I tried to demonstrate the video splitting thing, so see if I can find it. Test. It should be in here. Oh no, it's up here. Pie chart test. So what I did was I made a little pie chart video in Keynote, and I wanted to be able to sort of split that across multiple slides. So the way that works is you sort of have to play it, and then there's a button on the card to split it. So it's not the best user interface, but it's not even working at the moment. So yeah, that's something that has to work. And basically, like things like, the delay calculator, which John noticed was broken. So that's now got, from the main camera, use the delay calculator, you should be able to get the audio delay with no issues. And I think that's a fail because it currently pops up a delay calculator on all the windows that you've got open. And I think it should I need to figure out how to make it just on the window that you opened. Sounds like it should be easy. One of those things where when Swift is doing a lot of magic, the Apple stuff is doing a lot of magic behind the scenes, not always the simplest thing to figure out. Drag, I've got some drag and drop things, but like something that you may see, like in the previous version of CueCam, if you dragged cards around, it would be weird, but now we're sort of getting a much more sort of normal looking behavior, you see. So when we're over the text area, it's not behaving differently. So it's this is starting to feel it, you see, even then though, starting to feel a little bit more like the way this feels. So we've gone from talking about checklists to me just going through a checklist. I hope you didn't mind that, and I hope you saw something that you thought was interesting. So I think that's the checklist I'm working. The takeaway here. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my place on the deck. Coming back to here. So yeah, the point with this is I know CueCam has been finicky, and it's just a surprisingly large piece of software at this point. There's loads of nooks and crannies, and it was very easy for me to miss stuff. And I just didn't. And where my mind goes is automated testing. Okay, we need a machine that's going to run through every single iteration, every single possible thing that can be done automatically, and that's going to be super robust. But actually, it takes a very long time to set something like that up, and it can't catch certain things like Intel Mac bugs. If it's not running also on an Intel Mac, it's not going to catch those bugs. And also they're quite subjective. It's it's red. Okay, that's not going to be caught by automated testing per se. So this I feel like is the way forward to really get CueCam over the line. I'm excited. I really enjoyed I'm down to 10 fails out of 68 or whatever it is, and each of those took a little bit of love and attention, and finally getting around to sort of just figuring it out, because this is my source of truth, and also a sense of safety that if I fix this now, I'm not going to break it again by accident in 2 weeks. So it is worth spending time on. So yeah, there we go. So that's it for today. If you want to find us, there's quite a few people on. I actually let Discord look after itself when I was busy this week. Someone came in and asked a question. A couple of other people had some really useful things to say to help them. I didn't need to get involved, and it was nice because usually I respond to everything on that Discord. But we've got like a couple of hundred people on there, and it's a nice place. I got rid of, there was a trolley guy that I just kicked off. So we've got zero tolerance for ambiguous, maybe misogyny. So I sort of like, I'm erring on the side of, if you're a troll, you're not staying here. Yes, John, I actually have. Funny you should say that. Is it this? Yeah, so that was mentioned on when I asked the question on Office Hours today. Checklist Manifesto, I am going to read it. But yeah, it's definitely just a really simple way of just having a little bit of quality assurance that I was just really struggling to figure out what to do. And it's like, you just need a checklist. And then, of course, I've got to make myself a fancy checklist tool to do it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me again this week. It's really nice to see you all. To play us out is my first duet with Harvey from Sunday, I think. So that's going to play us out. And then I'm going to say bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I'm always like, look, I need like a clock as part of the CueCam dashboard. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, I hope you'll join me again next week. Who knows what I'll be talking about? I should probably plan these out in advance instead of thinking about them like a couple of days before. All right, see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.